You wake up at 3 in the morning. No reason, no noise. You just wake up. For a while, you lie there. Not anxious, not exactly awake, just present in the dark, thinking about nothing in particular. Then, eventually, you drift back off. Modern culture calls this insomnia, a malfunction, something to fix with an app, a pill, a podcast about ocean waves. But here's the thing. That exact pattern, waking in the middle of the night, lying quietly, then sleeping again, might not be a malfunction at all. It might be the oldest sleep habit your species ever had. And the 8-hour block you're failing to hit, that might be the actual anomaly. Let that sit for a moment. For most of human history, sleep did not look like a single unbroken block. Historian Roger Ekirch spent over a decade digging through diaries, court records, and medical texts from pre-industrial Europe. And in 2001, he published findings describing something he called first sleep and second sleep. People would sleep for a few hours after dusk, wake for 1 to 2 hours in the middle of the night, then sleep again until morning. That waking period was not wasted. People prayed, they talked, they made love, they visited neighbors. Some got up and tended the fire. It was expected. It was normal. That sounds obvious until you look closer. Because if this was just a European quirk, easily explained by boredom or bad candles, it wouldn't matter much. Except it does not stay in Europe. Anthropologist Carol Worthman studied sleep patterns among modern hunter-gatherer groups, including the Hadza in Tanzania, and her research, published in 2015, found something striking. In these communities, without electricity, without screens, without alarm clocks, sleep is often broken into segments too. People doze, wake, socialize quietly, then sleep again. Multiple people in the group are awake at different points through the night. It looks almost like a rotating watch. And that detail matters more than it seems. Because a group where everyone sleeps deeply for 8 uninterrupted hours is a group with nobody on guard. No one listening for predators. No one hearing the twigs snap outside the fire. Here's where it gets interesting. This may not be a bug in human sleep. It may be a feature that survival selected for. Think about that for a second. For nearly all of human evolutionary history, sleeping through an entire night in one unbroken stretch would have been a genuinely dangerous strategy. Early humans lived exposed to predators, rival groups, and unstable environments. A species that could not surface into light wakefulness periodically, check its surroundings, then slide back into rest, would have been a species that got picked off in its sleep. So the wiring for fragmented sleep isn't some flaw your ancestors were trying to overcome. It might be a survival mechanism baked directly into your nervous system. But that explanation has a problem, and it deserves to be taken seriously. Maybe segmented sleep wasn't an evolved defense at all. Maybe it was just a practical response to a specific set of circumstances. Long winter nights, cold huts, uncomfortable bedding. Nothing more mysterious than that. Ekirch's own written sources come almost entirely from pre-industrial Europe, where nights stretched 14 hours in winter. Maybe people simply couldn't physically sleep that long in one stretch, so they split it, the same way you might split a long car ride. That's not evolution. That's logistics. It's a fair point. And for a long time, that was the dominant counter-argument. Sleep researchers pushed back on the idea that segmented sleep was some ancient universal default, arguing that Ekirch's evidence was culturally and geographically narrow, that you can't build a claim about all of human history from English diaries and French court documents. The problem is the hunter-gatherer data complicates that pushback. The Hadza don't live through freezing 14-hour European winters. Their nights are far shorter, their climate warmer, their lifestyle nothing like an English farmhouse. And segmented, watch-like sleep still shows up. That's not proof the practical explanation is wrong, but it does mean cold nights and bad bedding cannot be the whole story. Now zoom out. Because there's a second piece of this puzzle, and it lives inside your own body, not in old diaries. Researchers studying melatonin, the hormone that regulates sleep timing, have found that in the absence of artificial light, human melatonin release naturally splits into 2 waves rather than one continuous surge. Psychiatrist Thomas Ware ran a landmark study, published in 1992, where he placed participants in extended darkness, roughly 14 hours a night, for weeks, mimicking pre-industrial winter conditions. Within about a month, their sleep spontaneously reorganized into 2 distinct segments, separated by 1 to 3 hours of quiet wakefulness. No one told them to do this. Their biology did it on its own. That's the moment the simple version falls apart. Because if segmented sleep is simply an artifact of hard beds and cold rooms, It shouldn't reappear, unprompted, in a controlled lab in the 20th century in people who grew up sleeping in soft mattresses under electric light. But it did. The unsettling part is what this suggests about the last century of human sleep. Electric light didn't just let you stay up later. It may have overridden a rhythm your body had followed for tens of thousands of years, replacing two natural phases of rest with one artificially compressed block, then labeling anything that deviates from that block as broken. And once you see it here, you start seeing it everywhere. Infants sleep in fragmented bursts. Many elderly adults naturally wake in the night. Cultures with strong afternoon nap traditions, like the siesta, may be preserving a biphasic rhythm rather than indulging laziness. Even modern sleep researchers now use the term biphasic sleep to describe what may be a default human pattern, not a disorder. This is where the story stops being just about beds and light bulbs. Bring that back to you. When you wake at 3 a.m. and your mind immediately jumps to failure, to broken sleep, to another wasted night, you are applying an industrial-era standard to a body built on a much older rhythm. Your ancestors weren't gritting their teeth through insomnia in the dark. They were living inside a normal, expected, even useful phase of the night. Now, this doesn't mean every modern sleep disruption is secretly healthy. Chronic insomnia, sleep deprivation, and stress-driven waking are real and can be genuinely harmful. The honest answer is that the research doesn't erase the difference between ancient biphasic rhythm and modern sleep disorder. It complicates the line between them. The better question isn't whether 8 unbroken hours is correct. It's why we ever assumed unbroken sleep was the default in the first place, when the deeper record, biological, historical, and cross-cultural, keeps pointing somewhere else. So the next time you wake in the dark for no reason at all and lie there quietly, not panicking, just present, consider this. You are not failing to sleep the way humans are supposed to. You might be sleeping exactly the way they always did.